Hey, what's up, everyone? I was on Blade HQ a little while ago, well, a few days ago, and they were having a Memorial Day sale, and I was checking it out, and I saw something that caught my eye months and months and months ago, and I didn't end up pulling the trigger and buying it. Now, the MSRP on this item, which we know is not really a true price, was $100, and for the longest time, it was around like $50 or $60. Then the price went down to like 50 and I was going to buy it, but I didn't. Then it wasn't offered for sale, or so I thought anymore. And then all of a sudden I see it for $29.99. I had to have it. Must have it. So I bought it, and it is the Boker Strike automatic knife with a brass handle. Now, before I get into this knife, let's take a walk down memory lane. About a year and a half ago, my wife bought me this knife. This is the Boker Stubby Strike. It's about, let's see, the Strike has a 3 1/4 inch blade. This one has, I believe, a 1.9 inch blade, Cali legal. And the handle is about, maybe about an inch, inch and a half shorter. Other than that, the dimensions around this area are fairly similar. Of course, this one has a safety, the other one doesn't. And let me tell you something, as you can tell by some of the wear on the scales, I really like this knife. That safety, I always forget about that safety though. It is a pretty cool knife, and as you can tell, I have not cleaned it in a while. Now, sometimes I'll do knife videos, and I'll tell you, this isn't a review. This is just me, kind of doing a first impression sort of thing. Um, Really, with this knife, I mean, this video is about this knife, but I'm just telling you, one of the reasons I wanted this knife is because I love this one so much. And for a little knife, it's got 3 fingers on it. Great jimping. Love the jimping here. And just fits really nicely in the hand, especially for a small knife. And I've used this quite a bit over the last year and a half. I like it very, very much. So because of that, I said, you know what? I think I'd probably like this one. And I really like clunky metal scales. And these scales are metal and they are clunky, and I'm happy about that. This was originally made in copper and brass. Um, and I was going to get the copper, and I never did. I am just kicking myself. So they don't have the copper anymore. Couldn't find it online, but I did get the brass, so I'm very thankful for that I finally did. So let's take a few measurements. Before I do tell you about the measurements, though, I just have to tell you this is pretty heavy compared to the regular knife. The regular one is maybe about 3.5 ounces. This one is 8.5 ounces. Like, it is a pretty substantial knife, but I kind of like that. This is a $29.99 knife, and $29.99 knife, and it feels like it's like a more expensive knife. It's kind of crazy. I mean, it has a D2 blade. It has the brass handles. Um, it's not an expensive knife, but it just feels like it is, and I really like it quite a bit from my, again, first impression. So let's open that up. Decent action, not ProTech like, but decent. Okay, so let's take a few measurements. So again, that blade is 3.25 inches, and the handle is, let's take a measurement there, just about 5 inches, just a little bit shy, like maybe like 4 7/8 inches or something. It's pretty close to that. And then overall length, let's line it right up there. Overall length is just about 8 inches. As far as the profile here, just like this one, I'll just kind of hold them next to each other. You can tell they're very, very similar in profile. The brass is a little bit thicker in this area right here, which is understandable, and it's about maybe an inch and a half longer one. Now, there actually is one that goes in between here. It's the mini strike. So you have the strike, the mini strike, and the stubby strike. I do not have any experience with the mini strike, but it seems like a very cool knife and very capable. I think it would probably be a good one. As far as this one, I'm kind of happy that it doesn't have the safety. Not a big fan of safeties on knives typically. Okay, so actually, I'm just looking at those liners. Yeah, they are not skeletonized at all. They didn't care. They knew it was going to be heavy. So as you can tell, we have pretty chunky brass scales there, and then we have steel liners on both sides. Yeah, it looks like we have a steel clip. The clip is okay. Nothing wrong with the clip. I do like how it kind of has that slight bend over instead of some of the other clips that kind of like go off like this, so that if it brushes your hand, it kind of pokes you. So that's pretty cool. Gets in the pocket nice and easy. As far as this texturing goes, I do like this quite a bit. It does make a nice difference. Now this one has those cutouts, and it has kind of like a little bit of a texture. I think you can see that. Almost kind of like a basketball kind of reminds me of. The thing I like the best is besides the cutout for your finger here, and then it slopes in for your thumb, so it makes up almost like a thumb ramp kind of. I love that, but look at that jimping. That is some aggressive jimping right there. So if you're making some cuts, not only does your finger and thumb have a real nice place to call home, but then you have tons and tons of jimping in there. And it goes right back here, right to the top, which is fantastic. Looks like a satin finish blade. Swedge along the top makes things a little interesting. This is a D2 blade, by the way. Came sharp out of the box. Not super duper sharp. I think maybe a little bit of a stropping might just kind of bring a little bit of life to it. But not bad at all. Like I said, if I had paid $60 for this knife, I would have been very, very satisfied for $60. The fact that I paid $29.99, and because I bought something else, I spent over $100 at Blade HQ, so the shipping was free. It was free 2-day shipping, which is just amazing. So, I mean, $29.99 for a very, very sturdy knife. Now, the only crappy thing is I just went on Blade HQ, and they're sold out. Because I had also checked to see if they had any copper ones still left, because I was going to go buy a copper, and they are sold out. So, unfortunately, if you see this knife, I don't know if you're gonna. If this was I don't think it was a Blade HQ exclusive because it didn't say anything on the box. But if you do see this, I would definitely recommend, at the very least, checking it out. Getting it in hand. I don't know if you're going to see it, but you'll probably see it used at some point. Maybe somebody will be offering it for sale. And if the price is right, I really would check it out because it's really, really cool. Especially if you like substantial knives. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Buck 110. I mean, it's nothing like it design wise, but just that it's like a substantial knife, and it feels almost like an old school kind of knife. Because with a lot of new knives, the name of the game is making them as light as possible for EDC. I'm not knocking that. I mean, there are sometimes you want a very light knife, but there are sometimes it's really nice having something that just feels substantial, and it feels much much more expensive. Now, I had bought this knife, and I bought another knife that I'll be probably mentioning in a video later on. I'll probably put them out around the same time. And the other knife was more expensive than this one. That knife was, I believe, $260. And, I showed the other knife to my wife. Yeah, look at this. It was $260. And she's like, oh, okay. And then I told her how much this one was. I said, how much do you think this one was? She said, oh, 200. Now, she's used to me buying knives, and, she handles them and stuff. So, like, she'll handle the Protex and the Spydercos and all that, and, some of the Solingen Bokers and stuff. And, she's used to what things are. And this one she thought was about a $200 knife. And she was surprised when she found out it was $29.99. I mean, it was a really great deal. So, just wanted to share this with you. Like I said, this one you might have a little trouble finding, might have to get it used if you did want it. But currently, Blade HQ has a ton of Boker Strikes. They have the Boker Strike, they have the Mini Strike, and they have the Stubby Strikes. Matter of fact, these are really cheap. When my wife got this for me, I believe it was like $55 a year and a half ago. Now they have them on sale for like $36.99. This is good for $55. It's awesome for $36.97. And then again, the mini strikes. I think I will probably at some point pick up a mini strike just because I like these so much. So why wouldn't I like the mini strike? It's it's a little smaller and lighter than this, but it's a little bigger and more substantial. It's got about a 2.7-inch blade. And you know what? The price is right. So if you're looking for a good automatic knife, tough to beat this one. I mean, it's really impressive for the price. Now, my only kind of knock is on the button. The button is, as you can tell, it's rounded. See how that is right there? It's like really rounded. Number one, and number two, it kind of pokes up a lot. Now, with some companies like ProTech, the automatics, they recess their button a little bit. That's nice. This way, you don't have to really worry about it going off. Now, with this knife here, I'm assuming that the reason why they have the safety there is because, as you can tell, that button pops up. Now, I've never worried about having this deploy in my pocket. I've never had the safety off, because let's face it, there's a lot of times I probably forgot to put the safety on, and it's never gone off. I guess it could, but never has, and I never really worried about it at all. That's snappy. This one right here, it pokes up from the surface of the scale, but you have to like really push it in. It's a very deliberate thing to push this button. And if you just press it with your finger like this, like, you can press as hard as you want with your thumb, this button is not going to be depressed. You got to really put like the tip of your thumb on it and push onto it like that. Same thing with the closure. So in that regard, it pokes up from the surface, which isn't the best of things. But I think because it's rounded, and you need like that tip of your thumb to really press it in, I don't really have any worries about it deploying, especially without the safety, which, again, I kind of like not having the safety. It's a good thing. Stock's also pretty thick too. I want to say it's like 0.12 inches, but it actually looks quite a bit thicker there when the light getting it. But like I said, if you see the regular strikes, definitely pick them up. Great knife for the money. Anyway, if you've made it this far, please consider liking the video. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. At this point, I'm real close to 1,500 subscribers, so it's nice hitting these small milestones. I appreciate it. And if you've been watching some of my videos, thank you very much. Hope you have a lot in the future you enjoy. See you later.